and all of that.
Yeah.
And my emotions gonna be crazy.
It's a part of life, son. It's just like the weather, how it changes. And the seed that goes underground, all the pressure and stuff that it has to endure in order for it to crack and then to begin to spill out all the goodness that's inside of it. Life is no different. You know I'm live too, son. I'm just saying, you just, huh? What is she doing now?
It's still like the situation.
Oh,
But
she just as young, son. She probably don't even know what she want. Y'all, how old is she?
18.
She 18. Yeah, it's a part of growth in life. She got to figure it out just like you do too. So, are y'all still friends? Have you talked to her?
The last time I talked to her was when she hit me up and she wanted to know if I moved on and if I'm happy, so she can move on. I was like,
oh, she trying to figure out what you're doing so she can know what she should probably do.
yeah. But I just said,
she funny.
I just said, yeah, I moved on. I am happy.
Yeah, she do a lot of going back and forth.
Yeah.
Not necessarily she playing games. I don't really think she's playing games. I think it's her.
Don't know her. She just been in this short confusion.
Yeah, her whole life experience and what she got going on, her home life, all of that plays a big part. You know, y'all stay young. Y'all still trying to figure it out, like we all are. Happy Saturday, beautiful people. Love you too. Are you going to the job site today? No, Virginia Beach. Is Jonathan coming to get you? Oh, he is. Tell him I said, what's good, fam? All right. You got your wallet, everything? All right. Love you, son. Happy Saturday, beautiful people. Alicia, yeah. Hey, girl. Hey, Anita. Shalom, shalom. Says set apart 11. Shalom, Grand Rising. Oahspe College University. Light and peace, brother. All right, y'all. Happy Saturday. Y'all hear me talking to my 19-year-old son in the background. I'm going to share it. You know I am, Oahspe College University. 2 videos I forgot about yesterday. Extinction of humans, creation, and age of man. You know what? While I was watching a video that you mentioned yesterday, I actually watched the extinction of humans, which was about, I think, like 14 or 18 minutes. I don't remember. I'd be watching so much stuff. But that was really good. But I didn't see age of man yet. But thank you for that. Make myself a note. And I'll share that 2 videos. Wow. Your videos are absolute jewels. Thank you so much for all of us newcomers to the party, the Oahspe party. Stephanie! Sawubona, yeah. Okay, y'all. It's Saturday. All right, y'all. So we're going to be finishing up the first book of God today. Matter of fact, let me do my whole introduction. Happy Saturday, family. It is Saturday, July the 16th, 2022, day 160 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count. We are on day 1178. We're picking up on page 312 in Oahspe in the first book of God. And once we finish that, we're going to start right into the Book of Wars of Jehovah. Yep, Book of Wars against Jehovah on page 317. All right, y'all. Father, you know who it is. It's us. We here. You know what we're doing. Let's go. Sometimes my prayers be like that. All right, y'all. So we paused yesterday at the end of chapter. I put my page numbers down, but I don't move my book marker sometimes. At the end of chapter 25, and chapter 24 and 25 started talking about the first Bible of Gautama, which is America, but it's also talking about South America and the Middle Kingdom, which we call Central America. So we're just doing more of that until we finish it up. And all those long names of people and places, and even Yah, the Great Spirit, said, "Look, I am weary of all y'all names. Just name everybody Honga." All right, y'all. Tiffany, yeah, I know. My son, they about to leave out. Well, he just left, leave out of here and go to the job site, but he want to have like life conversations, knowing he got 2 minutes to get out the door. So he talking about the first love of his life and trying to get over her, and she don't know what she want to do. They because they just getting out of high school, and it's like a whole new world of different people, and it's like, ooh, ooh, maybe we should pause. Let me try that, right? So we didn't raise our children to be that way. So when we love hard. And he was dedicated to this girl. Like when I say dedicated, like truly dedicated to this girl. And she like, well, son, maybe she ain't the one, because if she want to go try different flavors and stuff, you don't want to deal with that, right? You don't. Do you see me trying different flavors? It's gonna lead to a bunch of heartache and pain. Just get over it now. Learn how to be friends. Just gonna have to work it out your system. And he just like, why I gotta be so hard? And then in the back of my mind, I want to say, had you listened to your daddy now in the first place, not to get involved with girls while you were in high school, we wouldn't even be having to deal with this right now. But I ain't say that because he knows that now. But he's just trying to work through all these emotions and feelings and stuff. I'm like, boy, you're 19 years old. You got a whole life ahead of you. Just day by day, right? He's like, why I gotta be so hard? I'm like, everybody has different pressures in life. I said everything changes, just like the seed that you put in the ground. It has to go through some type of pressure in order for it to crack and all the goodness and the beauty to spill out and to have fruit trees. And y'all probably heard some of that when I went live. I was saying it to him. I say it's the same thing in life. Sometimes the hard situation causes us to break on the inside, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It allows the beauty within to begin to flow out. Shebrew 144. Shalom, sis. All praises to the hold on. All praises to the creator. Yes. I be working on my acronyms. Elijah 7, shalom, shalom. He said, shalom, beloved family. May the Creator's peace be with you all. Oh, anytime says, bless up to all. Shalom, Francis. All right, y'all. Etzael, shalom. Shalom, shalom, fam. Okay, y'all, let's get to it. Okay, hold on. Facebook. Okay, y'all. Page 312, chapter 26. Etura, remember Etura Etura is another name for Ahura, the false god. But here they call it in America or Gautama, they refer to Ahura as Etura. That's how they pronounce it. Okay. Look, girl, I gotta have energy. With all these kids we got 6 kids. And the first 5 were boys. So, we all like bang bang, shoot them up, wrestling, WWF. When a girl come in the picture 5 years ago, it's a whole different type of energy, prissy and all this stuff. And I'm just trying to get used to it. I'm just like, girl, like she came out the womb being a princess. Like that's what we named her. That's what's on her social security card, Princess Ariel. All right, y'all. So yeah, I'm just full of energy. I don't know how to dial it down, even on my bad days. I don't know how to dial it down. All right, y'all. Chapter 26. Etura, god of evil, dweller in hell, looked over the broad earth, saw the land of Gautama, the mighty races of Ehuans, and his mouth watered like a lion's when a lamb standeth before him. Etura called his legions, tens of thousands of Druhas, devils from the regions of hell. Come, he said, I have found a rich feeding place. Behold, I will make my kingdoms wider, spread out the walls of hell, and gather in this great harvest of innocent souls. Then came Etura's host of evil, 10 times tens of thousands, For such is the nature of spirits and men. Call for 10,000 to do a righteous work, and only 100 come. Call for 10,000 to do any unholy work, and behold, 10 times 10,000 come. Ain't that right? Listen, I'll read that again. Verse 2. Then came Etorah's host of evil, 10 times tens of thousands, for such is the nature of spirits and men. Call 10,000 to do a righteous work, and only 100 come. Call for 10,000 to do an unholy work, and behold, 10 times 10,000 come. It's just like you call a prayer meeting in church, you got a whole congregation of 50,000 people. You call a prayer meeting, 5 people show up. But let them say it's gonna be chicken dinners and so we're gonna have a party or we're going out to the club. Everybody, and not just the 50,000 people from your congregation, but them 50,000 people all bring a friend. Now you got 100,000. Where the party at? I'm just like, bruh. Same thing with the kids and the time to clean the house. All right, we about to clean. Now I got to go search for everybody. Nobody want to show up. But let me say, we about to order pizza. Everybody, can we call our cousins over so they can have pizza? No, no. And you ain't getting the pizza till after my house clean. They said to Etorah, how shall we do? Where strike in? And Etorah, wise and wickedness, said, go to the temples, the places of shining copper and silver, to the oracles, and obsess them, everyone. And when the kings and the learned men come to consult Gechi, my deadly enemy, assume ye to be him, and answer them with lies and all manner of unprofitable speculation. Turn them upside down, make them curse Gechi, make them ask for Etorah. So remember, the name Gechi is another name for the Great Spirit, or Jehovah, or whom a lot of us, my brethren and sisters, call Yah or Yahweh. Actually, Yahweh is spoken about in here. We'll talk about that when we get to it, right? But the Great Spirit, make them ask for Etorah. And when madness cometh on them, follow ye them to their sleepless couches, and whisper in their souls that their neighbors are their daily enemies. Incite them to war and to all manner of deeds of death. And when they overturn each other's kingdoms and houses, and their dead lie like ashes all over the land, gather ye in their distracted spirits to fill my mighty kingdom with Gechi's harvest. Then answered the host of Etorah, who was known in heaven as Ahura, most mighty God, what are thy prizes for the souls of men, for souls to extend thy heavenly kingdom? And it seemed like they did a lot of this in the Christian, if we just look at it, what he said on how to trick the people, seemed like the same thing that was happening all the way through the Bible. Yah's people thinking they're following him when they're following the voice of another, right? And we can always tell if it's the voice of another, if it's leading you to war and killing and getting one up over on somebody else. That is not our creator, because everything that he says, um, it it equals life for all involved, right? It's for the best outcome for all parties involved. Whether you think they're your family or your enemy. Okay. Verse 5. Etorah answered, saying, according to the number of subjects any angel bringeth me, so will I exalt him to be a captain or a general or a lord or a god, and he shall have a sub-kingdom in my heavenly regions with thousands of servants to do his bidding. And with that, the evil God and his spirits fell to work day and night, and lo and behold, the fair land of Guatemala was overspread with human blood. Fell war spread along throughout all the mighty kingdoms, kingdom against kingdom, city against city, man against man. And the holy temples were pulled down or burnt, and the canals broken and wasted, the cities on fire, and the fields laid desolate. Neither grew there any grain. The grinding mills of the women were silent, like the dead stretched over all the fields. Into the forest afar off fled the women with the children, hungry, weeping, starving. And the cities went down, the nations went down, the tribes of men were broken up, only remnants here and there remained, and where had been great and mighty peoples, lay only heaps of ruins, past the power of man to rebuild. Then looked down from the highest heaven the Creator, the Great Spirit, saw the work of desolation, saw Torah at his bloody work, and the Great Spirit cried out with a loud voice, so that earth and heaven shook with the power of his voice, sifted all things as a woman sifteth meal. And he found one grain of corn, not ground by the God of evil, found hunger. The tribes so fast sworn to the Great Spirit that the evil gods and evil spirits' words rolled off and took no hold on them. The Great Spirit saw the tribes of hunger, they that stuck most to the Ehings, the sacred little people, white and yellow, oft marrying with them, thus preserving the stock to the hand and voice. He called loud and long, Hunger, hunger, hunger. The Creator would not be put off with silence, called again, Hunger, hunger, hunger. But he heard only his voice resounding afar, knew his mighty power. Again he called, Hunger, hunger, hunger. That might actually be our title today. Hunger, hunger, hunger. In the first call, Etura and his evil host ran away. In his second call, it was like springtime after heavy winter. And in the third call, it was like budding summer. And there came up a sprout of the seed of hunger, and Ehuan, taller than any other man, with a bright shining face of copper, shining as if all the destroyed temples glistened in his broad head. And he spake, saying, Hear, O great spirit, here am I. And the great spirit said, Who art thou, my son? And he answered, I am son of the Creator. Then asked the great spirit, Of what tribe? And he answered, My flesh is nothing. My genealogy is of the spirit. Boy, you better say that, Honga. Hold on, let me highlight that. Hold up. I gotta highlight all verse 14. Janaya, hey girl, hey. Jan Grand Rising. Hey girl, hey. Okay, I'm gonna read verse 14 again. And he spake again, we're on page 313, verse 14. And he spake again, and he spake, saying, Hear, O great spirit, here am I. And the great spirit said, Who art thou, my son? And he answered, I am son of the Creator. Then asked the great spirit, Of what tribe? And he answered, My flesh is nothing. My genealogy is of the spirit, of the Ehim, my mother, of the Ehuan, my father. Then said the Creator, For which reason I named thee Iwata, spirit and flesh, even balance, best of men. If I have another child, I might name him Iwata. Spirit and flesh, evenly balanced, best of men. Of course, I might not be able to give that definition of that name to my other children. They gonna feel some type of way about that. I probably won't have no more children anyway. I done did my part in reproducing on the earth. Although that clearly is not stopping my husband because he won't like FOMO. I'm like, bruh, we 43 years old. When we ever gonna get to travel the world without little ones attached to us? Bella done already made 5. She pretty much self-sufficient. Sis can even cook for herself. Because if I have another child, that's like a whole another, let's say 3-year commitment where the child is attached to me. The first almost year in my body. And then the next 2 years nursing. I'm 43. And I would be 60 something by the time that child is 8. I'm looking at the math of all of it. I done bore all my children in my early years so I can really enjoy my best life as I get older and put my body back in shape. Okay, verse 15. Then said the Creator, For which reason I named thee Iwata, spirit and flesh, even balance, best of men. Come thou with me. Walk along with me. Thou shalt reinstate the tribes of men, deliver them out of darkness, make them worshipful. Iwata said, I am thy servant, O great spirit. What shall I call thee? That the tribes of men be no longer distrustful. Then answered the Creator, call me after the wind, O Iwata. Iwata said, how after the wind? The great spirit said, come with me, my son. Then Iwata walked along and came to a place where the wind blew in the leaves. The Creator said, tell me, my son, what saith the wind in the leaves? And answered Iwata, E. Then the Creator took Iwata to the big sea water and asked, what saith the wind in the water, my son? And Iwata answered, go, like G-O, go. Then took the Creator Iwata to the high crags, the rocks above the clouds, piercing where the wind whistled. And he said, what saith the wind, my son? And Iwata answered, Quim. And the great spirit said, call me Egoquim. Egoquim. Call me Egoquim, O my son. I am three in one, the earth and all that is in the earth and on the earth and all the stars and the moon and sun. They are one of my members. And the air above the earth, the Atanti, Atontea, Atanti, yeah, okay. And the air above the earth, the Atanti, is another member of my person. And higher yet, in the higher place above the air, is the ether, the great penetrator. And that is the third member of my person. I am everywhere, far and near. All things thine eye seeth, all things thy ear heareth are of me and in me. Whatsoever is one with me hath no hard labor. Behold the flowers of the field, I color them. Behold the ant and the honeybee, I lead them. The bird I teach how to build. Man alone is stubborn, setting up ways of his own. Oh, that he could learn to be one with me, to move and labor with me. Then spake Iwata, saying, Holy Egoquim, I will go and teach man, give him thy words, and make him understand. And I know y'all to hear me say many a times, everything else in nature is doing what it was created to do except for man. We the hard heads. We want to do everything against our natural state of life and order. We the only ones down here being hard-headed. We want to change our sex. We just turn the world upside down and we live upside down, right? Blood rushing to our head and we wondering what's going on. Bruh, turn yourself right side back up. You're supposed to be walking on your feet. Let me read this again. This is good. Let me just go all the way back to verse 16. Iwata said, I am thy servant, O great spirit. What shall I call thee? That the tribes of men be no longer distrustful. Then answered the Creator, call me after the wind, O Iwata. Iwata said, how after the wind? The great spirit said, come with me, my son. Then Iwata walked along and came to a place where the wind blew in the leaves. The Creator said, tell me, my son, what saith the wind and the leaves? And answered Iwata, E. Then the Creator took Iwata to the big sea water and asked, what saith the wind and the water, my son? And Iwata answered, go. Then took the Creator Iwata to the high crags, the rocks above the clouds, piercing where the wind whistled, and he said, what saith the wind, my son? And Iwata answered, Quim. Don't turn it up, boo. And the great spirit said, call me Egoquim, O my son. I am three in one, the earth and all that is in the earth and on the earth, and all the stars and moon and sun. They are one of my members. And the air above the earth, the Atonti, is another member of my person. And higher yet, in the high place above the air, is the ether, the great penetrator, and that is the third member of my person. I am everywhere, far and near. All things thine eye seeth, all things thine ear heareth are of me and in me. Whatsoever is one with me hath no hard labor. Behold the flowers of the field, I color them. Behold, the ant and the honeybee, I lead them. The bird, I teach how to build. Man alone is stubborn, setting up ways of his own. Oh, that he could learn to be one with me, to move and labor with me. Then spake Iwata, saying, Holy Egoquim, I will go and teach man, give him thy words, make him understand. Egoquim said, For that labor calleth I thee forth, made thee tall and handsome, with strong limbs and broad shoulders. Come then, my son, I will go with thee into all the lands, amongst all the scattered tribes. Thy voice shall be my voice. So near thee will I stand. When thou openest thy mouth to speak, fear not. I will give thee words. Thou shalt not err. Iwata inquired, What shall I say? How teach the sons and daughters of men? Give me a synopsis. Egoquim answered Iwata, saying, and that's actually the end of chapter 26, and it goes right into chapter 27. Let me highlight this one spot. Just got to highlight begin of verse 22. It said, Man alone is stubborn, setting up ways of his own. Oh, that all could learn to be one with the great creator, right? Okay, chapter 27. One great person, even Egoquim, creator and ruler over all in heaven and earth. Him shalt thou have, and no other God, nor Lord, nor idol, nor man, nor angel to worship forever. Him shalt thou love above all things in heaven above, or on earth, or in the waters of the earth. And thou shalt teach him to thy children, and command them to teach him to their children, and so on forever. And thou shalt swear against all other gods and lords and idols to serve them not forever. And the same to thy children, and to their children after them forever. And this is the first Egoquim law. Thou shalt deal unto all men and women and children as justly and as kindly as to thine own mother, out of whose breast thou wert fed when thou wert helpless and of no strength. Now let's pause right there real quick, and let's talk about this God in the Old Testament, or who we used to think was God, or Yah, when he told them to go and ransack cities and kill not just the men but the women and the children. A lot of time, upstanding men of honor, when you go to war, they know women and children is a no deal. Leave them alone. I mean, although it's some women that's gonna get with you, right? They know how to work a pole just like the men do, or any type of weapon, but they were a no-go. You don't touch them. But the God of Israel, or who they thought was their God, which really wasn't, we know was false God, under the rulership of Luamon. Now that we know a little bit more, right? He told him kill everybody. Everything that pisseth up against the wall, the women, the children, the babies, even the infants suckling the mother's breast, kill them all. And I'm just like, wait, hold up. Wait, excuse me. First of all, I'm a woman. I'm in this city that y'all about to come to. What do we do? What did the infants do to cause you to want to take them out, right? And I get it. They could like Haman's seed. Was it Haman? No, in the book of Kings, remember it was one of these times where the God told King Saul to go kill everybody. Don't keep the sheep, the nothing. Then Samuel came in. What is this bleating of sheep I hear in my ear? And Saul was like, you know what? Well, we killed the men, but the best of the flock and stuff we kept because we could use it as sacrifice. It was good, and we decided to keep some of the women because they're beautiful. What the children got to do with anything, right? Samuel came in there. He killed the king, but what we didn't know, which we found out in which book was it? Um Legends of the Jews. The Legends of the Jews, we found out what the Bible didn't tell us, but it made it make sense by the time we got to the book of Esther. And that seed that had risen up, Haman was the seed of that King Saul didn't kill. But before Samuel actually killed that King Saul saved, this man went and had sex with a woman, which began the lineage that led up to Haman, who wanted to kill all the Jews, right? So I used to get that. I mean, I still don't know. I can see You kill all the babies, everybody, because you know they're gonna come for their daddy's records when they get of age, when they learn about what happened. So kill them all. We ain't got to worry about that. I mean, I get that. I get the reason and the logic behind it. But now it's like it's murdering. They're just looking at it through the creator's eyes from what we learned from the Oahspe. It's the problem is not really with them. It's those in leadership, right? And how they're teaching the people and just killing off everything. And if you raise them in violence, they're gonna normally grow up in violence, right? I mean, we've had you can call it experiments or whatever you want to call it, where they take you out of, although you may have traits of your father, even if you never met your father and your father's off in jail somewhere, you begin to exhibit those same tendencies or whatever. But if you change the atmosphere and change, not necessarily change the nature, but you give the person an opportunity to grow and thrive in a place that's nurturing and that's helpful. A lot of times they can choose to they can make a clear-headed level decision not to go in the way that sent their father or their mother to jail, sent them to the grave early. You educate them appropriately, say they don't feel like they're stuck in this type of lifestyle, and we just got to get it how we live, right? When you change the atmosphere, you change your environment, and you equip them with knowledge and understand and teach them the difference between what's good and what's not so good, and let you make the decision. A lot of times they'll tend to do what's right. But sometimes you still got some the hard heads that we're gonna go to where the grave till we go. Some will go to the grave, but some, when they hit rock bottom, when they get there, they're gonna remember all the good things that they learned, and they'll begin to gather strength and pull from that, and they'll begin to turn their life around, right? So, but yeah. All right. Let me go back to where I was at. I forgot why I even said all that. Hold on. Oh yeah, killing everybody. Okay. Verse 5. Let me just start over. Okay. Yeah, the whole point I was saying it was, if it tends to life and it's for the life of everybody involved, you can almost guarantee 100% that it's coming from the true Father. But if it's killing off everybody so you can get ahead and you can take their stuff, you might want to consider the information and the source that it's coming from, because I can guarantee you 100% that it is not the Father, right? Even with marriage, we read back here, with marriage, with it was talking about a husband who was crazy. They didn't say crazy, but a husband that was crazy and just doing his own thing and had a faithful wife. And those who had a wife that was doing her own thing and had a faithful husband, right? Even in then, for the best outcome of both parties involved, he said, you know what? If with it, and I'm gonna just kind of sum it up, put it in my own words. But if the creator wants to separate your marriage, you know how he gonna separate it? He gonna take one of them to heaven. I'm like, holy crap. Right? So I'm like, Father, help us. Make sure we won't leave here early, right? Mom, shalom, shalom. For everybody that don't know, Renetta is my beautiful mother. I don't act crazy because she got a wrench. I got a couple of family members that got wrenches. But yeah, they can kick y'all out. We'll give y'all a warning. We normally let everybody stay. But we ain't really had no crazy people in here, except for those that be coming in here that post porn links and stuff. But we ain't had that in a while, but yeah. All right, y'all. Let me just read it again. Verse 1, chapter 27 on page 313. One great person, even Egoquim, creator and ruler over all in heaven and earth. Him shalt thou have, and no other God, nor Lord, nor idol, nor man, nor angel to worship forever. Him shalt thou love above all things in heaven above, or on the earth, or in the waters of the earth. And thou shalt teach him to thy children, and command them to teach him to their children, and so on forever. And thou shalt swear against all other gods and lords and idols to serve them not forever. And the same to thy children and to their children after them forever. And this is the first Egoquim law. And thou shalt deal unto all men and women and children, all men and women and children, as justly and as kindly as to thine own mother, out of whose breast thou wert fed when thou wert helpless and of no strength, teaching this to thy children and to their children after them forever. This is the second Egoquim law. Let me highlight the laws when they call them out. Verse 6 was the first, and the one above that. Verse 9, this is the second one, which we read from 7 and 8. Verse 10, and to the sick and helpless, to the stranger and the man that cometh afar, to the widow who is destitute, to the child that hath no father, thou shalt be both father and mother to them, and take them into thy house, and feed them, and give them skins and clothes to wear. And if they be lost, thou shalt go with them and show them the way. Commanding these things unto thy children and to their children after them forever. This is the third Egoquim law. Remember, Egoquim, like we just read, is another name for Jehovah or the Great Spirit, or who we refer to as Jah, and who I most affectionately label as the Most Holy. And thou shalt not tell lies, nor speak falsely against any man, nor woman, nor child, nor break thy word of promise, even though death come upon thee to induce thee otherwise. Meaning, don't change your word. Even if you threaten with death, don't negate what you just said, your promise. Don't take it back. Linda, hey sis. And thou shalt not tell lies, nor speak falsely against any man, nor woman, nor child, nor break thy word of promise, even though death come upon thee to induce thee otherwise. Unchangeable as the setting and rising sun shall be the word of thy mouth. I like that. Unchangeable as the setting and the rising sun shall be the word of thy mouth. And we know that the sun setting and rising hasn't failed ever since we've opened our eyes here on this earth, every day like clockwork. And thou shalt command this to thy children and to their children after them forever. And this is the fourth Egoquim law. And thou shalt not take and possess that which is another's. Don't take their land, don't take their house. It's enough earth. We're gonna move you over here. There ain't nobody laid claims to this shit. I'm gonna give it all to you. Leave them good people alone, right? And thou shalt not take and possess that which is another's, nor suffer thy children to do so, nor their children after them forever. This is the fifth Egoquim law. And thou shalt respect the times of woman, and when she is bearing unto thee, thou shalt not lie with her. Oh, wait a minute. What? Let me read all this before I start my shenanigans. Thou shalt respect the times of a woman. Clearly, we know that we don't do anything with blood. You don't. That's what the first part of this is saying. You don't have sex with a woman while she's on her menstrual cycle, right? Even a study was done with that. Women, a lot of women that they researched on, they like did some testing. Women with cervical cancer, the good majority of them, I want to say high 90 percentile, women who had cervical cancer were found to actually be ones who had sex on their menstrual cycle, right? That's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. And what was even more interesting to me, and even though the Jewish people, right? The ones who living over in the land of what we call Israel today. We ain't even getting into the black people and all this, but the people who we refer to as Jewish, they actually did a study on them as well and found out that there were not any of the women, none of the women who had cervical cancer whatsoever. Why? Because that's one of the laws in Leviticus, right? You do not sleep with a woman while she's on her menstrual cycle, right? And because the ones who actually kept to those laws that you find in the Bible, they were free of cervical cancer because they didn't violate that natural law of the woman's monthly time, right? All right. But here's something that wasn't in there. Listen, let me just read the whole verse 18 again, page 314. And thou shalt respect the times of woman, and when she is bearing unto thee, thou shalt not lie with her. Meaning, while she pregnant, you're not supposed to have sex with her. Like, I mean, I don't know. We done screwed that one all up. Like the whole 9 months. Like once we found out, like why? That's me. I'm asking. Okay, so why this one? I mean, I respect everything you say, Father. I mean, but can you explain this a little bit more? I mean, because I'm not getting it. Listen. And thou shalt respect the times of woman, and when she is bearing unto thee, thou shalt not lie with her, nor give her heavy labor, nor angry words, nor fret her, but be obedient to her, doing whatsoever she asketh thee to do, for it is her time, and she is thy queen. Boy, I wish my husband was down these stairs right now. Hold on, let me just go and highlight this. Hold on. I'm gonna highlight this in blue so I can read this. I'm gonna I'm gonna act like I'm reading this out loud when he come down here so he can hear it. Hold on. Oh, hold up. He gonna say something smart to me. Girl, you better get out of here with that. Who wrote this? I'm gonna read it all again. Listen. And thou shalt respect the times of woman, and when she is bearing unto thee, thou shalt not lie with her, nor give her heavy. Look, you know what? They put a lot of this in here, but the whole thou shalt not lie with her, they took that out. Everything else, though, we know, because it could send her into early labor, could cause her to lose the baby. No nobody let no pregnant woman carry now. Oh, baby, sit down right here. I'll give up my chair. You come sit down. How many months are you? Congratulations, right? But what are you doing? You should have called us. You shouldn't be doing that, right? We got all that down. But the whole patriarchal society, the world run by men, you keep that. Don't put that in there because we still need to use them to satisfy our flesh. Just, give her your child, all that. Don't even let it be heard by their ears that we're not even supposed to be having sex with them while they're carrying the child, which I can kind of understand based on some of the other things we read, based on the descriptions of what the Lewis does, the Masters of Generations. Sheba said I had all 5 in the examination room. Laugh out loud. I came and spit my babies right out. Look, girl, I had hard labels. I'm just like, look, give me the epidural because I ain't got time for all this. Listen, hold on. Let me read this. I gotta be serious. I I can understand this based on the description of the Lewis LOO apostrophe IS, the Masters of Generations, that record and they watch everything that happens to the child while the mother is pregnant with the baby, right? All the things that we learn from the Book of Divinity. I can see, I can kind of see why, especially if the father is not like completely walking with the creator, because everything that happens during that time that the baby is developing in the womb will literally become a part of the baby. So that's why the Lewis records everything. And then that's how the Lewis are able to prophesy or give the word to the Ashars, which are their guardian angels, to prophesy what that child will be, even all the way up to the 6th generation. But they take into account everything that happens while the baby was in the womb, the lifestyle of the mother, the lifestyle of the father that's interacting, all of those things, what the mother is putting into her body, all of that stuff is a part of what that child will be. Okay. I kind of understand it a little bit. It's still developing in my head, but I ain't having no more children. At least at this point, I don't think I am. So I ain't got to even worry about this. And thou shalt respect the times of woman, and when she is bearing unto thee, thou shalt not lie with her, nor give her heavy labor, nor angry words, nor fret her, but be obedient to her, doing whatsoever she asketh thee to do, for it is her time, and she is thy queen. Teaching this to thy young men and to thy young women, and to theirs that come after them forever, for their young are begotten of me, and I will have them shapely and strong and brave. So just imagine though, if you're pregnant, I mean for the women, and I guess the men too, if your wife is pregnant, that if she's conceived, and both, you just think about Brahma and Yutuv's children, if they're conceived at the height of your belief and your worship of the Father, from the time the seed is planted in you, if nothing else touches your body, I ain't gonna say unholy or whatever, but imagine if you don't have sex, right? You don't have the seed coming, because you can't get pregnant again on top of being pregnant. So the seed that's being spilled into your body, and the body has to cycle it out. Imagine just if that happens, and then from that point for the entire gestation period up until the time of birth, that the womb doesn't have to fight against anything else while that child is growing. I'd say that'd be a pretty strong child spiritually and physically. Understanding and knowing what I know now, right? Verse 19, it says, teaching this to thy young men and thy young women, and to theirs that come after them forever, for their young are begotten of me, and I will have them shapely, strong, and brave. Yeah, a lot of people would disagree with the rule, right, Oahspe? She said, cause I had sex the whole time, right? Because I'm just like, I got questions, because why, Sway? How? Like, why? Like nothing? Absolutely nothing. I Even now I feel some type of way about that, but I can work through these feelings now, because I done had all my kids. I'm just, Father, forgive us, because we know. We know, because all the way, look, we even got, when I was getting tired of carrying the baby, them last few days, and the baby is dropped so low and it's just taking all your strength, and you're tired and you're just like ready to get it over with. And especially if your water doesn't break, like I had to be induced with all of my children. And I'm like, okay, how do we make the baby come? Not that we wanted the baby to come early, but I'm like, with all my children, I was 2 weeks overdue. 2 weeks overdue. And it's like, well, some people like, you can just have sex and it'll help you go into labor. I'm like, really? It doesn't work. Like, how many times a day do we have to? Right? Okay, let's try this, babe. Of course, my husband's like, okay, yeah, let's go. Right? But it didn't work. But so, look, Leisha, he is, right? I'm glad he ain't walked down the stairs yet. He gonna test it out. You better stop. Look, some people's like, oh, eat some octopus. I'm like, first of all, that is unclean. I'm not putting octopus in my mouth, right? But it's crazy. Like, none of this stuff. I'm just like, it would have sounded really foreign to me back then. I'd be like, that's of the devil. That's Satan. Because God made sex and He made it good, and we married. What? No, that's of the devil. Get out of here with that foolishness. That's what I probably would have told somebody before. Okay, let's go. Verse 19. Teaching this to thy young men and thy young women, and to their heirs that come after them forever, for their young are begotten of me, and I will have them shapely and strong and brave. Y'all see Josiah waving to y'all in the background. Which is the sixth Egoquim law. Thou shalt labor 6 days, but on the seventh day it is the moon's day, and thou shalt not labor, nor hunt, nor fish, but go to the altar of thy creator and dance and sing before me, and sit in silence to hear my words, which I speak into the souls of men and of women and children. Son, you okay? Yeah, use some soap. Hey, you. Put it back. Y'all get some fruit. Isaiah, eat some of this pineapple in here too. All right, so this the verse 21 is a little bit more about the Sabbath day, or what Oahspe calls the 4 holy days of the moon. So we learned also a few videos ago where it showed us what happens on the moon's holy day, or on the Sabbath. The angels, or our guardian angels, are changing guard, like the watches are changing. So when you come here, you have at least 2, right? I'm gonna say at the very least you got 2 guardian angels, because just like working, you never work 24-hour straight shifts. You got different shifts, or 12 on, 12 off, or some 8-hour shifts or 6-hour shifts, but you always have a relief. It's the same way in the spiritual realm, right? They need a little bit of rest and relaxation from your foolishness as well, right? They tag team, my turn, go and chill out. But on the Sabbath is when they change. But also right here, something else that happens, it says, verse 21, bless you. Thou shalt labor 6 days, but on the seventh day it is the moon's day, and thou shalt not labor, nor hunt, nor fish, but go to the altar of thy creator and dance and sing before me, Bless you. Bless you. Yeah, son, eat the pineapple. My grandbabies came over this weekend sniffling and stuff, and they just passing it to the house. I'm like, look, I'm about to go on the water fast. Because y'all ain't about to get me with this. So I bought up a bunch of fruit. Well, we had fruit, but I just got way more so they can just kind of kick this real quick. You want apple, baby? You want to talk about banana? Banana. Okay. Banana. There you go. She called apples bananas. I mean, she called bananas apples. Didn't you just have an apple? What you do with your apple? You threw my apple away? You bit it and threw it away? You threw my whole apple away? You could have set up, then I would have juiced it and put it in your cup. Hold on a second. Boy, don't be throwing my good fruit away. All right, y'all gonna sit on at the table. All right. Verse 21. Thou shalt labor 6 days, but on the seventh day it is the moon's day, and thou shalt not labor, nor hunt, nor fish, but go to the altar of thy creator and dance and sing before me, and sit in silence to hear my words, which I speak to the souls of men and women and children. And I just reiterate women and children a lot, because the Bible kind of just washes us away like we don't matter, and we very so much matter to the creator, right? And it talks about us like we are, I hope ain't no feminists in here, not that we're equal, but we are equal. Like he doesn't look at us any differently, like I'm gonna choose the men before I choose the women, right? We're all created for different things, and each thing's for its perfect place, right? Just like women were created to bear children and nurse children, men were not. There's nothing wrong with that, right? He's just created certain things that are just a certain order of things, because that's how life flows best here, right?
You did this.
I did that, babe.
You did that.
Apparently, you just ran straight to the room to see me last. You better not come in here with no shirt
did
on. When you close.
You did that, girl. Huh?
Mr. Murphy has entered the kitchen, y'all. You gotta go put on a shirt. And
You did that. You did that. My baby did that.
I told you. Okay. Verse 22. Teaching this to thy children and to their children that come after them forever, which is the seventh Egoquim law. Thou shalt restore the rites and ceremonies of Chopan and Anubia Pan, but the part I swear thee, which thou shalt not restore, which is, thou shalt not flatten the head to make a seer, a honga to drive judgment of the brain away to the prophetic regions. Now we got to pause here because there's a few things we need to look at with this verse. Okay. So back up here where it says, in ceremonies of Chopan, after Chopan is reference to letter E. So the references are on 2 pages over on page 316. And E says, ceremonies of Chopan, most likely the rites referred to were similar to Port Pan and Anubis. See Book of Sapa. The word Anubia Pan is known amongst some of the Western tribes. The pipe of peace is known to all of them, and this was a part of the Egyptian ceremonies also, 1882 edition. Okay, so it says see Book of Sapa, Saphah, Saphah, but it doesn't give where. It's probably referring to the whole book, which we'll be getting to that shortly, so we're not going to jump ahead because it didn't give us a specific place to go. It just says refer to the book, which means to me that it's going to talk about it a lot throughout the book. So when we get there, we'll get that. You okay, son? Just stay over there. Okay. And going back, let's see, thou shalt restore the rites and ceremonies of Chopan and Anubia Pan. Wait a minute. Let me just look real quick. Here you go. Here you go. Take that off. There you go. Take this. Yep. There you go. Let me hop to it real quick because maybe it's just like a little portion so we can see what the ceremonies and rites are. Oh, wait. They got port. Oh, we're gonna get to it. Port Pan Algonquin, page 547. Then you got Anubis, Old Egyptian on page 548. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All of those. Okay, so Book of Safa starts on page 516, and it has these different books within the of Book of Safa. Okay, let me see. Let me just go. We ain't about to read a whole page though. We'll get to it when we get there. Let me see. 547. Ooh, and I forgot to post that chart yesterday too. I remember to post that chart we looked at. 547. Anubis. Key. Port Pan. Okay. Oh, it's talking about prophecy and what they. What time we got? 55. Okay. We're not gonna read it, but it's talking about how they press the heads down on the children, which they call them flatheads, to induce the judgment and prophecy. To whereas when you're born in the families of light or whatever, that gift is developed. Either you're born with it or it's developed righteously, how the Creator would have it developed, and it's not forced being born by people manipulating your body, pressing that plate against your forehead and distorting your body, your head, in order to activate the prophecy and judgment portion that's in your brain, right? So it talks about this and the head being compressed from infancy. This is what they did to them. It just kind of goes into detail. But this particular Port Pan Algonquin, we know Algonquins clearly from the Americas. And that's 39 verses. Then Anubis, Old Egyptian, and they did the same thing. And that's 45 verses. Yeah. So if y'all want to read ahead, I'll put it here. I'll put it 547 to 540. I think that's 549. The five right at the page top of page 550. Read that. It's real long. And I won't even be able to, I mean I could, we're gonna be at 2 hours, but we'll just kind of leave this for when we get there. But that's what it is. It's giving more detail about the flatheads and what was done to them in order to induce judgment from infancy. Remember Tukshin and his wife? Tukshin was one of the ones that they did this to. That plate on his forehead to cause him to be a seer, to be able to prophesy and see the future and all that stuff. His head was distorted because this was strapped on his head from the time he was an infant. And they call him a flathead. Everybody do that too. They got the nickname flatheads, right? And they knew that those could actually see into the spiritual realm. Okay. See the rest of this. Okay. Verse 24, page 314. Thou shalt restore the rites and ceremonies of Chopan and Anubia Pan, but the part I swear thee, which thou shalt not restore, which is, thou shalt not flatten the head to make a seer, a Heonga, to drive the judgment of the brain away to the prophetic regions. Teaching these things to thy children and to their children after them forever, which is the 8th Egoquim law. Okay. And after, this is the 8th, little girl, after, your daddy upstairs. That's Pop.
Hey.
After Egoquim law, after law is reference letter F. So let's go back to page 316. And F says,
Yes. You see right there? Huh?
It's so loud. These people lived and practiced this religion when the Christians came to inhabit it They welcomed the Christians and fed them and divided their substance with them. I am live.
Hey, anybody want to listen to us talk about it?
Look, babe.
They want to talk about it.
You want to finish? You want to finish reading this?
I'll talk about something else.
I know, but this is not the type of video. This is not. Move. Hey, listen, Mr. Murphy. Hey, Dad. Yep. Hey, go get the grandbaby. Get your grandbaby over there. Make sure she eat her food and stay at the table. Babe, listen.
I like Marvin Gaye too.
I like Marvin Gaye too.
There you go. Let's get it on.
You gone somewhere? Reference letter F. These people lived and practiced this religion when the Christians came to inhabit it. They welcomed the Christians and fed them and divided their substance with them. Their cornfields spread over all the present northwestern states. They had state organizations, and their United States were called after the name of the Great Spirit, Egoquim, or as improperly called, Algonquin. But because of their religion, the Christians raised the cry of heathen and fell upon them and killed them and destroyed their cornfields and said they were too lazy to work. 1882 edition. Listen, I told y'all when I went to what is the title of the? I just saw that. What is the title of that video about the Sabbath? I gotta go back and look at what we talked about it here recently. I can find it in here. When I find it in here, I'll be able to find it in my video because in each of the videos, I always put the page numbers where we read. So if you can go to the description box and if you can find it in Oahspe before I do, find the page number, just go to the description box of the different videos. Let's jump back a couple and find that page number because I always put, if we read, like yesterday, we read from pages 309 to 312. And if it was found in that, find the video that has those page numbers and it'll talk about that there. So that's how I kind of keep track of all my stuff. All right. When I went to Jamestown a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned this, when me and my husband went out there because it was a project we're doing out there. I noticed I used to work out there many years ago. And many years ago, it's called Jamestown. So they got a lot of stuff out there about slavery and everything. And it's changed a lot from the time I've been out there. And I noticed this time when we went out there that they actually updated the people who were actually here in Americas. Like they changed the people because they teach you in the history books that they weren't of color, that they were fairer skinned people. And that's what they had in these exhibits and everything. And I'm like, when I was working, I'm like, this ain't right. This is not right. I was like, but who am I to tell them to change their exhibits? But when we went back here, when did we go out there to look at that project? About a month ago now? About a month and a half ago, I noticed the exhibits had been updated. They actually got the I can't stand it. We got a project out there. My husband hate going out there. I don't like it. Because all the whole slavery stuff, he think he's just reliving and he just not for it, right? But I love history. I'm a history buff and I do a lot of research, so I love it. Not that I love, but you get it, right? But I noticed and I was super excited. I was like, we have to come back and walk through this and look at all of these exhibits. Because while I was there, I was noticing
nothing but the fire. Set it all on fire.
They changed out the people and they got the original looking people there, which looked like me, right? Because there were people of color here in America. Yes.
Don't feel like you. Light skinned. You fair skinned. Let me say this.
I'm still black.
Well, you got a light tint to you, but
you know what I mean.
We are the black. All right, this dark skin. This is, you got a little tint to you, and the reason why, as we say,
they know what I mean.
Oh, well,
they had more copper color.
Dark skinned men know the dark skinned pigment people.
Listen here, Mr. Murphy. You want to take over the rest of this video? Because I'll just give you my fuzzy colored pen and you can come over here and you can finish doing all this.
Hey, give me something else that's fuzzy.
Ooh, be quiet. We gotta hurry up, y'all. Look, hey, listen. This is
quick.
not the video for this.
I keep my guns
Listen,
drawn.
hey.
I keep them drawn. What you
Listen,
talking
see,
about?
this is what I'm talking about, y'all. It's shenanigans. This
Bang,
is not the
bang.
video for that. I told you we should do like a whole nother
I
type
got
of
a double
video.
barrel shot. I got two
And we
double
can talk
barrel
about this kind of
shotguns.
stuff all day, just kind of like making a marriage video. But
Hey, I'm down for whatever you want.
he said my name was inappropriate for that. The name I said we ought to call it.
Oh, yeah, you gonna tell it? Yeah.
Look, yeah. Okay, y'all. Let me finish this. Okay. Yeah, so I was super excited that they are actually updating the stuff with actually true, real history. So, but he said if I wanted to go out there and kind of go through it, he'll go, because I wanted to go. Okay, we almost done with this. Okay, I read 24 again. Thou shalt restore the rites and ceremonies of Chopin and Anubia Pan, and Anubia Pan has reference number 24 after it. And at the bottom, it says Anubia Pan on the part. Thou shalt restore the rites and ceremonies of Chopin and Anubia Pan, but the part I swear thee, which thou shalt not restore, which is thou shalt not flatten the head to make a seer, a Hayonga. And over here in America, they called it the Hayonga, the oldest, wisest person. It's in here. It's in the tribes of Honga. The tribe of Honga, their oldest, wisest person would be the Honga. Yeah, so or seer or prophet would be another name. Tiffany said, James, don't be coming for my cousin. Look. Teaching these things to thy children and to their children after them forever, which is the 8 Egoquim law. Then rose up Iwata, son of Egoquim, saying, yeah, move, babe. Yeah, okay. Just stop. You be doing the most. This is why I be trying to hurry up and get done before he come down the stairs. Verse 27. We almost done, y'all. Then rose up Iwata, son of Egoquim, saying, I am thy servant, lead thou me, for I am going in thy name, even to the end of the world. When thus spake Iwata, son of the great spirit, a light came over him, dazzling, brilliant, lighting the way, showing him the way. And so great was the spirit on Iwata that when he came to the river, he rose up like an angel, sailed over, and landed safely on the other side. Neither knew he whither he was going, knew not the places of the scattered, destroyed peoples. And yeah, I'm right with you. I'm almost done, babe. I'm almost done. And the angels of Egoquim went. We're gonna need to check and see if Elijah leaving, because Jeremiah went with Jonathan to the job site. If he gonna, we just need to make sure Elijah not leaving.
Hold on, Jonathan, where?
They went to the job site. We got Beth's job today, right?
We got like 50 people down there. Okay.
Well, they'll be done early.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Neither knew he whither he was going, knew not the places of the scattered, destroyed peoples. And the angels of Egoquim went before him, went into the forest and valleys, calling to the souls of the suffering, starving, dying, saying to them in their despair, Egoquim the mighty is coming, his son, behold him, he holdeth the keys of Yatanti, the heavenly hunting ground. Come forth from your hiding. Come forth, O my beloved. It is your heavenly Father calling. And the women heard, the little children with sore, bleeding feet. The proud, brave men gave ear. They said, why do we fight? Why do we destroy? It was a wicked God. He called himself the Savior, the wicked monster Torah. Then came Iwata, came first to the kingdom of Tukshin and to his queen Chiga in the land Anagu Mahaha, the flatheads, told them all the words of the great spirit Egoquim. And remember, Tukshin and his wife Chiga is these two again. And I'll take this picture and post it if you don't have the book. It's these two, the flathead. They went to their land. Elijah, ain't nothing but shenanigans over here in this house all day long, 24/7, right? I think some people, although since we moved in and we kind of had early projects, I think some people kind of show up for the shenanigans that happen in my background. All right.
Got some more though.
Look, babe, I'm almost done. Let me
I
get
got some
finished.
more.
Let me get finished.
I got
Okay.
one more.
Verse 34. Then came Iwata, came first to the kingdom of Tukshin and to his queen Chiga in the land Anagu Mahaha,
Two chains.
the flatheads, told them all the words of the great spirit Egoquim. Then spake Tukshin, saying, to me the great spirit hath spoken, told me all the words thou hast. I know all thou hast said is true. Then spake Chiga, saying, to me Gichi, the great spirit, true are all thy words, O Iwata. By thee will all the scattered tribes be gathered together. I like how they recognize that they were talking about the same great spirit, right? Chiga, his wife said, to me spake Gichi, the great spirit, right? And hold on. I just read that. To them, they called the great spirit or Jehovah Egoquim, but they recognized that Egoquim and Geechee was the same great spirit, just different places. They refer to him as different things, but they recognize who they're talking about. And I don't understand why even today some people can't realize whether how they're pronouncing his name, whether they want to say Yahweh or Yahuwah, they're fighting over that. We're talking about the same one. It's just you pronouncing it different, but we're still talking about the same great creator. At least I hope so, right? I need to double check and make sure first, right? But a lot of times we're talking about the same great spirit, right? Okay, verse 34. Then came Iwata, came first to the kingdom of Tukshin and to his queen Chiga in the land Anagu Mahaha, the flatheads, told them all the words of the great spirit Egoquim. Then spake Tukshin, saying, to me the great spirit hath spoken, told me all the words thou hast. I know all that thou hast said is true. Then spake Chiga, saying, to me spake Gichi, the great spirit. True are all thy words, O Iwata. By thee will all the scattered tribes be gathered together. Many tribes will be there. Many tribes will there be of the red man. Egoquim will be the center, the mighty spirit. Hey, Red. What's going on, Red? Right? Don't nobody call nobody red but the copper colored people, right? That's a nickname some of us even have, right? So we know which tribes the red men are. Let me highlight that.
Red man.
The red man. Red man, method man. Okay. Red bone, right? By thee will all the scattered tribes be gathered together. Many tribes will there be of the red man. Egoquim will be the center, the mighty spirit. Then spake Iwata, saying to his good hosts and hostesses, your place shall be the center. From your place I will shoot out around about, always bringing in followers. And after always, it has reference number 25. And at the bottom, 25 says, always returning, bringing in followers. Okay, verse 37. Whilst thus they talked, a light came above them. Look, said Tukshin, it is the hand of Egoquim. Look, said Chiga, it is the voice of Gichi. Then spake Iwata, seeing more clearly, raised up expressly, it is a ship of fire coming down from heaven. I hear the voice of the angel of Egoquim, the mighty. Then Iwata went and stood betwixt Tukshin and Chiga, holding their hands, so the voice of Egoquim could speak plainly, so he could hear. Then spake Egoquim, saying, speaking out of the ship of fire, yea, my beloved, I am with you. Behold, my worlds are wide and many. When my back is turned, evil gods come and steal my children. Tell them lies to win them. Tell them they are my sons. Tell them they are my sons come to save them. Hard is the fate of those that worship one God only, but they are mine. I like that. Verse 41. Hard is the fate of those that worship one God only, but they are mine. I look around at times, I set the evil gods flying. Be of strong heart, O my beloved. Many races will come and go on these lands, but the red man shall possess it, inhabit it far and near. Then shall come another evil god to flay and destroy my sons and daughters, to cover all the lands over with pure blood. Then will I come again and rout out the evil god, raise up my sons and daughters full of glory. From far over the water will I bring their kindred, and after kindred, it has in parentheses Jews, Jews. From far over the water will I bring their kindred, Jews, who worship none born of woman, a wise speaking people, a people that war not, who kill not off weaker nations. I will come in the Mohawk, and in parentheses after Mohawk is Tenonachi, Tenonachi. Tenanachi. Yeah. I will come in the Mohawk, Tenanachi, and the Mohegan, Hoochiequis.
What?
Mohegan.
Mohegan.
Yeah. Mohawk and Mohegan. Mohegan is Mohegan. And after Mohegan, it has Hoochiequis, which is
What you just said?
Hoochiequis.
Say it.
It's spelled HOOCHIQUIS. Hoochiequis or Hoochiequis. I'm thinking about Marquise. Hey, listen. That is inappropriate. Don't. Okay. I will come in the Mohawk, Tenonachi, and the Mohegan, Hoochiequis, and my hand shall reach around the earth in that day. I will chase away all gods and saviors born of woman. Only the great spirit shall all men worship. Listen, yo. And so let me tell you something. When I first started realizing this, I'm like, hold on. Because me and my sister, we kind of like went in. We was like, we knew something was wrong with worshiping Jesus, because we was all like, okay, so how did this thing actually work? Do we talk to you? And when we talk to you, like the password or the key to talking to you, we got to say in the name of Jesus. And who talks to us back? The Holy, like all of that. We always knew something was wrong with this. But as we began to unfold all of this, is like, why do we need a middleman? And then we started to call Jesus the middleman. I'm like, yeah, what is he there for? I'm like, because I can clearly hear him. I've been able to hear him since the day I probably could before, but the first day I remember was my childhood. I could hear him clearly, right? So I didn't never, and before then, I didn't even know that there was a Jesus. I didn't even start, although my parents may have been talking about it, whatever, and started going to church or whatever, I wasn't even comprehending the name Jesus until like way after I was already hearing the voice of the Father in my life. So it was kind of throwing me off. I'm like, well, why? Okay, am I doing something wrong, or has it been Jesus talking to me all along? I was like, but I wasn't even, I'm just like, at that time, I'm just like God. I'm talking straight to God. No middleman, no like spirit and stuff. But it was when we started saying this a few years back, as we started putting it together, I'm like, oh, see, we knew we was on to something. So we only supposed to be worshiping the Creator only, right? I even changed all my stuff. I'm like, we worship Yah only. We made that very, very clear. We won't do in nobody's name. We won't talk to no spirit. The Holy Spirit is the spirit of Yah that talks to me. His spirit is holy. So kind of threw some people off, and it's like, I don't know, sis. You kind of straying away. I'm like, I ain't straying away. I'm getting a lot closer. My understanding is getting clearer of who I worship. I know who I worship. Who you worship? Look. So, but when you start saying that, it sounds foreign to Christian people because they're so tied into the whole Trinity thing, where it's like you worship the Father alone. Yeah, we worship the Father, but in Jesus' name, and the Holy Spirit helps us in our week. I was like, no, you can talk directly to the Father. You don't have to say in nobody's name. And matter of fact, when we started, me and my sister Alicia, we was testing this, right? Look, we was like, we just gonna test this. We a little bit of scientists, right? We got to test everything, right? To show our own self-approved, being like the Bereans, right? So okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop ending our prayers in Jesus' name and talking to the Holy Spirit and saying, thank you, Holy Spirit. We're gonna stop doing all of that. We just gonna, and still at that time we were still saying God, right? But then we was like, okay, we'll call him Yeshua. But Yeshua to us was like a nickname, like people call me like PJ Sparkles or a shortened form of my name, Pam, when my name is Pamela. I'm still the same person. So it was like, we understood that Yeshua was just a different suffix on Yah that gives you the salvation portion. So when we were saying Yeshua, we wasn't talking about this third person deliverer that the Christians call Jesus. We were still talking about the creator. But when I realized that was still confusing people, we put away the name Yeshua, Yehoshua all together, because I didn't want there to be any kind of confusion. I was like, Yah only. You should no. We stopped, and I explained early last year. I said we're gonna put that name away altogether to end all kind of confusion whatsoever. We worship one God, one creator only. And I've even stopped saying, because I used to say a lot at the beginning of my videos, worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But now that I know there was some shenanigans going on with them, I stopped even saying I worship on the God of Abraham. I stopped saying the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they're kind of suspect. So the one great spirit, creator of all, we worship him only. And when I tell you, I kid y'all not, when we adjusted our prayers and our life, we stopped ending our prayers in Jesus' name and being so super spiritual about stuff, and we talk directly to the Father. You know how people don't think your prayer is legitimate unless you say, and all these things we ask in your son's holy name, Jesus, or in Jesus' name. We stopped doing all of that. When I tell you, our prayers have never been answered more quickly. When we stopped doing that, it was absolutely blowing our mind, right? Baby, you ate a whole, where your daddy? Here, I'm gonna give it to you. You go give it to your daddy. Tell your daddy to open that for you. If he wants you to have that one, he'll open it for you this time. But I already gave you one. Go get to your daddy, girl. Go ahead. Elijah! Baby doll coming up there with a banana. I already gave her one. She want another one. Daddy don't want you to have it, girl. But our prayers began to be answered so much faster when that happened. Yo, it was absolutely crazy. I'm just telling you, I know none of y'all probably already got out of that phase, but if you're still kind of wondering, test it out. Test it out. Do you still say, y'all? I do from time to time. Simply, yes, baby. Just put it right there. Put it on the basket. Yeah, put it right there. Go ask daddy. Daddy said put it back. Daddy said put it back. You want some coconut water? Jace, go tell your daddy, come get her some coconut water. You got to get it out the refrigerator, out the garage. Y'all just test it out. Test it out. Yes, I from time to time, I still say y'all. It just depends on who I'm talking to. Like if I got Hebrew brethren, a sister, and that's still kind of, so we know. But I will say like the Great Spirit, or a lot of time, like even around here, I don't really. I just refer to Yah as the Most Holy, my Father, But I know who people are talking about. Let me go back up a little bit. All the way back up. Shebrew said, I kept asking my brother why we called on Yahweh more than we did the Most High, breaking the very first commandment. Thank you. That was a big one with us, right? Can only get to the Father through the Son. To me, that's putting the Son first. Absolutely. It's upside down and it's backwards, right? You giving the commands, but you breaking the commands while you giving it, right? Now, you can go talk to the Father, make sure you're saying the Son's name. Like, first of all, my G, what I first learned is that I am his son. I am his daughter, because reading the Old Testament and comparing the Old Testament with the New, the sons change. From the Old Testament, Yah clearly, the great creator, clearly deciphers who his son is. And he said his son was Israel. Did not one person, not a single person, like the New Testament does. The nation of Israel, men, women, and children, was his son, right? He told Moses to go deliver his son from Egypt. Not one person, but the entire nation of people was his son. And you'll read that all through the Old Testament. The prophets constantly repeated it. Matter of fact, there's a video that I did with the title, I want to say, Who is God's Son? You got to go back. That was like 2 years ago, I think. But if you go on YouTube and do, matter of fact, and I did like 2 videos where I pulled out all the references in the Bible, breaking out all the son scriptures and comparing it, what Yah was saying. I was like, okay, now who's changed the words of the Father when we get to the New Testament, right? Because Yah clearly said that his son, his people, was Israel. And he used to change the terms interchangeably. When he said, my son is still plural, just like family. That's not one person. A family is comprised of many people, right? The word family, we're one, like the Murphy household. We're one family. We're one, but there are many members in the Murphy household. We're considered as one family on the block, like one unit, but within our unit, there's multiple of us. Same thing with the word son. In all of Israel, it's one son, which is a family, and there's multiple of them, men, women, and children. The Bible just kind of, like I said, it scrubs the women, so it just uses son, the whole patriarchal terms, as just the ruling guideline all throughout. And it does, you really have to be a diligent seeker and studier of truth, so you don't get all twisted up like a lot of Christians do. And then now you fighting over terms and stuff. For the women, y'all just good for the bedroom and the kitchen floor. The bedroom and the kitchen. The men run things. The man is in charge. Women, you follow after the men. Shut up. You don't speak. Let the man speak. You ask your husband when you get home. I'm like, bro, ooh. I'm like, I had a problem with that. I'm like, well, Father, okay. Sometimes we do have the tendency to run our mouth. We may get a little out of pocket. I say, but something is wrong with this. Like, I grew up with that thing. I'm just like, are the men better than the women? And then I went through this whole phase when I was a teenager, maybe like probably a year, where I used to wish I was born a man. Like, I didn't want to be a woman, just because how bad for me, what I saw, not that my mom got treated bad, but just like going to different churches and just looking at things and reading the Bible and listening to different people teach from the Bible, it was like the women were always like the underdogs, and you never really saw them in the scriptures unless they were being used for something, used as pawns, or you got to follow. It's just like something is wrong with that. But I was like, okay, Father, this is the way you created it, then okay, I'll be okay with it. But you're gonna have to deal with my heart, because I feel some type of way about this. I really do. But I don't want to be out of pocket. I don't want to be out of line. I'll obey my husband until he try to put his hands on me, but I ain't gonna stand there and take, because we're gonna be fighting, right? That's just how I am, because it's like I think about parents with their children, right? I just always had the thought, because my father never treated me that way, right? He never treated me like, and plus my dad is 3 girls came first before he got his son, but we were always treated like daughters, like we were special, so that's why I had a hard time understanding that. Right. Women's liberation. A lot of women kicking back against all this stuff, and then you go from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Now the women is really out of control, because they're breaking free from the tyranny of the men. And it's like, if you just sit back and consider all these things, and we never even once considered, while we were in Christianity, that this might not actually be our Father talking to us, right? It might not actually be. And this, we found out recently that it hasn't been a father talking all this time. It's been false gods and false lords, right? Yeah, I got issues with Paul too. And Paul was a fake so-called prophet. He really was. you get into big fights with a lot of people when you start talking about Paul. And I'm like, y'all worship Paul more than y'all worship the creator. I was like, I take issues with Paul, right? Paul was very learned in the scriptures, which is why he could talk to people who were not as learned as he was and twist the words and make them sound beautiful, make them sound like they're right. Because I used to be a big promoter of Paul. I'm like, wait a minute, Paul. Once I started studying Torah, I'm like, hold up. What did you just say? No, you are twisting the words of the Father. Like all these phases I went through. And I'm just like, yo, something is wrong about all of this. Right, look, we go to daddy to see if the son can come out to play, not the other way around. Looks. Yeah, you're right. Tiffany said over on Facebook, making it basic. That completely goes against family hierarchy where the father is always the head of the home, right? Yeah, so all of these things, if we would just sit back and consider, like just consider life in our own families. I mean, I guess if you are brought up in a healthy family where there's a healthy respect between the father and the mother, and the father's not lording over the wife and like, you need to do what I say, and you don't have a woman that's lording over her husband, and the man is too weak to stand up for himself or to bring his own house in order without dishonoring or disrespecting the wife in the process, especially if you got girls, because the children are watching this. And that's not okay for you to treat your wife that way, because you're telling me indirectly it's okay for men to treat me how they want to. And absolutely not. We're going to come for your head. You approach our daughters or even our sons the wrong way. I feel just as strongly about my sons. Don't you ever let a woman run over you, because women will manipulate, not all. So you have to be careful. You have to consider the women whom you choose allowed to be a part of your life. You're just as special as our daughter or our daughters. We only got one, but y'all get it. Right. So the parents teach the children directly and indirectly how to treat and how to be treated. And some of these Hebrew camps, I can't even get through some of their videos. One video I saw, one guy, I ain't gonna say the names. I ain't gonna say the names. But one of the Hebrew camps, he was talking about his wife, talking to his son about. He actually gave this example himself. He asked his wife to do something because he was out here preaching the word and she needed to get this and this done. And apparently she bucked against it. And he called his wife a bitch in front of his son and continued to talk about his wife in his wife's face in front of his son, and told his son, if your wife ever get out of pocket, you call her a bitch to her face. Let that be know that she ain't ass. And I'm like, and like he was going in and saying that this is the way you treat them to make sure you can keep your rule over your house. I'm like, first of all, I ain't gonna say you got a good one, because let that had been me or anybody that came from Johnny and Pinky, we going for your head. First of all, we all conceal carry and we gonna fight. Matter of fact, and if we have to fight a man, my mama said, if you ever fight a man, which I'm not recommending you doing, but if they come up on you, she said, don't even try and fight them back with your hands. You take up the closest thing and try and knock their tails out. But we took that to heart. So we won't let people run over us. Sometimes we let our heart get in the way with the ones we love and stuff, and we kind of lose sense for the time being. But ain't nobody gonna roll up on us and mistreat us. So we just don't do that. We're not raised that way. And neither does the father allow that to happen. Although we allow it to happen here, if we really were close to the Father and we understood the way he operated, and everything that we do here on the lower level is just on a lower scale of how it should be on the higher levels, with respect going both ways to the men and women and the children. It's like when the world is run by unbalanced people, they throw everything else into chaos and the world becomes chaotic. And so now we have a whole patriarchal system, right? The women are trying to break free from the tyranny of the men and throws it into a whole feminist movement. And now they're out of balance as well, when we really should be coming together and finding the middle ground where we can work together, right? And it's a mess. So we got to clean up the messes, right? I mean, y'all better get this cleaned up. Like everybody acting crazy. So yeah, let me go back up. Yeah, I'm gonna finish. We ain't gonna get into the Book of Wars of Jehovah. We almost done with this. Hold on. Yay, Saf. Bruh. Shalom. I ain't seen you in a while, man. Okay, hold on. I stopped up here when Jen said, do I still use the word Yah? hold on. Shebrew said, can only get to the Father through the Son. To me, that's putting the Son first, right? Set apart living. Yeshua was the prophet of the truth who came to turn the people back to the Creator and stop animal sacrifices and eating of the flesh. Yeah, but even him, when they actually get to him, we're gonna see how they chopped and screwed him as well, right? Because they actually talk about Yeshua or Jesus in here, but his name was Joshua in here, and it gives a good little blurb on him as well as Yahweh. We ain't got to that yet, but we'll see more when we get there. The great I am, we move from depending on a mediator to depending on a creator only. Absolutely. Elijah 7. Aji, hey girl, hey, shalom. Yeah, Shebrew, I say creator now, right? Yesaf, the most holy one of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Hebrew text only. I get what you're saying, bro. I get what you're saying. We're saying the same thing. Set apart living, the Nazarene literature tells the truth of why he came. Yesaf, you remember my earrings. Gaia Nami, right? The creator is supreme. We're talking about this sign right here is Gaia Nami. It means the creator is supreme, right? You remember my earrings. Yep. The New Testament was given by the Roman Catholic Church. Yeah, put together by Constantine, all them hard head, shallow, wow. Elijah said Paul straight up CIA. Facts. He a phony. Look, hold on. They said Paul never actually met y'all. I just heard. That's absolutely true. At one point, false goddesses ruled the Old Testament. I definitely agree with that. Oahspe College University, based on all that I know. Okay. Yes, Seth. It's all about duty. When two people understand their role, there is harmony. Absolutely. And not just in relationships with men and women, also in companies. And we deal with the same thing, right? And to bring our like even to keep our business in balance, because my husband and I, we're in business together, and we just happen to be married. So it's the same type of thing, right? Just like we run our family, we got to run the business. You when you understand your role, there is definitely harmony. My husband ain't trying to be a woman or have a baby or nurse, and I ain't trying to do his part, right? So when we do our part, or we agree on, when there's things we can't agree on, we're just gonna we're gonna agree to disagree, but we're gonna come to a middle ground just to make sure we can keep moving smoothly. Hardhead, I'm only 23, not afraid to prophesy about my testimony. Hey, hardhead. Okay. Yeah, to make it worse, false god Baal ruled Israel and Egypt. I met a friend was experiencing drugs with a new friend, meth and ecstasy. Hardhead. Hold on. Maybe you was still saying something else. I got out the shower. 2 angels were staying in my room. It was a man standing with glasses. He looked like Morpheus from the Matrix. We all just be balanced to build the Creator's kingdom on earth. We all meant to say we all must be balanced to build the Creator's kingdom on earth. Absolutely. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me finish this, cause I gotta get out of here. My husband gonna come back down here in a minute, cause we gotta go do something. Okay. All right. We pause. Remember, it's 28 chapters. This last one is like 14 verses, and we were about at the end of chapter 27. On verse 46. Let's just go to 45. For many years traveled Iwatal over the regions of Gautama, teaching. No, we didn't. Hold on, I'm sorry. We got to go back up. No, yes. Yeah, sit over there. Okay, let's go back to verse 42. From far over the water will I bring their kindred, Jews who worship none born of a woman, a wise speaking people, a people that war not, who kill not off the weaker nations. I will come in the Mohawk, to Nonachi, and the Mohegan, Hoochikis. My hand shall reach around, My hand shall reach around the earth in that day. I will chase away all gods and saviors born of woman. Only the great spirit shall all men worship. Go forth, my son, build wide my foundation in this land, and I will found my earthly kingdom. Then upward rose the ship of heaven, and Iwata, buckled on his traveling slippers, bade goodbye to Tukshin, filled his pockets with the bread of Chiga, kissed her hand goodbye, and started. And all the way at the beginning, I forget exactly where, but one of the first couple books when it was talking about, matter of fact, I think it's what's page 17? Okay, Book of sHEnanigans. Was it Book of sHEnanigans? Yeah, I think Book of sHEnanigans, where it talks about where during the age of Cosmon, that the creator was going to use the Americas for the biggest, I guess you'll call it a revival, the biggest awakening of of all the nations of the earth, right? And so even when we look at things today, it seems, if that's the truth, which to me, based on my personal experiences and watching and researching, that seems to be the truth, but there is still I say a false teaching that's still trying to pervade and run rampant, trying to get the people out of America to go somewhere else, right? And they're harping on America being Babylon, but if you want to say Babylon, Babylon is all over the world. But the showdown of all things is really going to happen in America. In America. In America, right? If you just pay attention, if you stop listening to people who are teaching false doctrine and just step back and observe what is actually happening, you would be able to tell that if you're here in America, you're probably in the place you should be, right? You shouldn't be trying to, I know a lot of people going to disagree with me on this, but because I used to be, you know, we got to get up out of here, moving to Africa and all this stuff, my roots and everything. But then as I began to look into it more and get the DNA test, blood test, and all this different stuff, I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on. Something is wrong about this. Thinking about some of the history of my family, and then to get DNA tests that say everything is over here. You absolutely have no blood whatsoever from the Americas, not knowing that the DNA companies, the companies that do DNA, there is, I gotta go way back in my notes. Let me see. There is, and the reason, I ain't gonna say all America DNA. I'm gonna put this up here. The reason why, like when we got our DNA test back or the ancestry test back, it said, and I was completely flabbergasted when it said I had no blood, like 0% blood from the Americas. My blood is 100% African, like 70% West African, and then you got like 3% Jewish and a couple other things. And I'm like, something don't seem quite right about that. Knowing the history that I understand, from all I understand, being passed through my family and the history of the Americas a little bit, I was like, something is wrong. And then I found out shortly after that there is a reason why some of the DNA, a lot of the Black people, look, America is Africa. We didn't even get into that yet at Oahspe College University. That's what I'm trying to just dropping little nuggets, because some people might not be actually ready for that yet. They're trying to, everything's upside down backwards. They're trying to get the original people to leave the land, to literally give up your inheritance by ignorance, and you think it's by your choice, not realizing, because what they've done to change this land, will absolutely blow your mind. The trees that they've uprooted, the animals that they moved out and imprisoned and scattered around the different places to change the face of this land, to get the people more confused and constantly changing the names of the people. All of this stuff I'm like, something's not right. But there's this thing where DNA companies, they can't. It's right down the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna have to go find it, and I hope I marked it in something where I can pull it right back up. But there is a reason why that they're not showing you the percentage of American blood on a DNA test for Black people. It's it's something that they got in place where they can't do it. Yes, baby. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll give you some. Okay. But I'm gonna just say they can't do it. There's something in place where it prevents them from doing that. So what they give you back is all the other stuff that they control, right? So the DNA tests kind of have a big slant to them as well. And I've taken 4 different ancestry tests, like paid for them just to compare and stuff. And I'm like none of them. I know my family. I was like, and none of these. I'm like, this something is weird about this. And it's just when I find it, I'm gonna share it with y'all. But these ancestry tests is they skewed y'all. They're all in cahoots together. They're all, yes, it's a part of the deceptions. Even the African ancestry, right? I ain't talking about my people, but everybody is in cahoots together, right? For that almighty dollar. I'm like, you will sell your people out. I mean, not using your people. You would just lie to people, period, for the sake of money and for fame. Like that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong, right? And that's why it just, when people try to wake up and they're researching their history, it leads them further off the path of truth because of deceptions. All everybody's in cahoots together, right? And they just trying to this big push. Oh, learn about your African roots and going back there. We're waiting for you to get home and all this stuff. I'm like, y'all, I could talk about this forever. Let me go, but let me finish reading this. Listen. Verse 43. Go forth, my son, build wide my foundation in this land where I found my earthly kingdom. Then upward rose the ship of heaven, and Iwata buckled on his traveling slippers, bade goodbye to Tukshin, filled his pockets with the bread of Chiga, kissed her hand goodbye, and started. For many years traveled Iwata over all the regions of Guatemala, teaching, gathering together, swearing the people ever after him to be firm to the Great Spirit, made them swear solemn oaths that never more would they listen to any God save the Creator, and made them swear they would never be caught by another cunning savior like Etura, whose people delight in war, right? The God of the Old Testament, going to war with, did they delight in war, right? The Creator, hold on, no, verse 46. Into villages gathered Iwata, the frightened tribes, and taught them writing and engraving, taught them the secret name of the Great Spirit, Egoquim, and explained to them the moon, how to keep the 7th day for worship. The Creator saw the great work of Iwata, saw the places gathered together in tens of thousands of places. Then spake the Creator to Iwata, saying, 40 mighty nations shalt thou found, O my son, and every nation shall be an independent nation, but all the nations shall be united into a brotherhood of nations. As one, baby, Elijah, don't worry about it. Come here, son. Verse 48. 40 mighty nations shalt thou found, O my son, and every nation shall be an independent nation, but the nations shall be united into a brotherhood of nations as one mighty people, and that one shall be called Oahspe Egoquim, signifying one. Build thou a model for them, O Iwata. And after Egoquim, it has reference, after Oahspe Egoquim is reference letter G. Jackson was trying to get some ice water and dropped it. So reference letter G on page 316 says, the Union of the Native American States was first called as states, but after it became an anglicized, Anglo-Saxons, anglicized. Okay. The Union of the Native American States was first called as states, but after it became an anglicized word, it was called Algonquin, 1882 edition. Okay. Let me just read this again. 40 mighty nations shalt thou found, O my son, and every nation shall be an independent nation, but all the nations shall be united into a brotherhood of nations as one mighty people, and that one shall be called Oahspe Egoquim, signifying one. Build thou a model for them, O Iwata, for though yes, we have oranges. For though when they come, they shall overthrow thy people in the earth. For though when they come, they shall overthrow thy people in the earth. The angels of the holy ones shall come and purge them of their Savior and make them clean in my sight. You ready? Okay. I'm like, I got one more verse. One more verse. Okay. Okay. Hold on, y'all. And after. Oh, yeah.
I'm leaving at 2. I got a date. Or 3. 2, 3.
Okay, after cleaning my sight is reference letter H. And H says, among spiritualist teachings, it has been noted that many mediums claim to have been informed through their communications that.
That's not cool.
Y'all so loud. Among spiritualist teachings, it has been noted that many mediums claim to have been informed through their communications that each American mortal is assigned a Native American as one of their guardian angels or guides. True guardian angels, however, remain anonymous to the mortals under their care. Let me read that again. Among spiritualist teachings, it has been noted that many mediums claim to have been informed, little girl, claim to have been informed through their communications that each American mortal, Elijah, that each American mortal is assigned a Native American as one of their guardian angels or guides. True guardian angels, however, remain anonymous to the mortals under their care. For though when they come, they shall overthrow thy people in the earth. Guys, we're going to probably have to end this right after this last verse because they just getting louder and louder. For though when they come, they shall overthrow thy people in the earth. The angels of the Holy One shall come and purge them of their Savior and make them clean in my sight. Then Iwata made the nations, united them into one mighty people, and called them the nations of Oahspe Egoquim. And they planted the country over with cornfields and dwelt in peace. That's clearly America, right? And right here it says the end of Iwata's history. There is one chapter left, which we're just going to leave that for tomorrow, and that's going to be the end of the book of the first book of God, and then we'll begin tomorrow, Book of Wars Against Jehovah. All right, y'all. I know this is super long, an hour and 53 minutes. It's not the longest video we've ever done, but on the weekend we can spend a little bit more time because we can, right? Because it's the weekend. All right, y'all. So with that being said, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out. It is Saturday, July the 16th, 2022, day 160 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets under the 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1178. We read pages 312 to 315 in Oahspe in the first book of God. All right, y'all. And now I'll share with y'all the chart that I said I was going to share. Those 2 videos by Oahspe College University. And if I can find that American DNA stuff and why the African DNA tests don't show American DNA results, I would definitely share that with y'all because I told you that everybody in cahoots together to keep everybody separated and not knowing the truth of the great creator, and that this is the place that the showdown is happening for the truth to be revealed. It's going to spring out from here and go to the 4 corners of the earth. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I love y'all. May the great creator, the great spirit bless you all as you walk on your path of truth and begin to apply it to your life, that you may be shining bright like a light on a hill. We're helping to take them bowls off y'all candles so you can light up the world. I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. You're welcome, Shebrew. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out. All right, y'all. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.